So, about to leave, heading off to grab something new for Sarge. Pretty excited. We've been waiting to do this for a while, and today's finally the day. I've got the call to say the bits are there. So come on, have a look at what we're getting. Hi everyone and welcome back, and if you're new to the channel, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be doing something pretty exciting, and that is we're finally going to be putting Sarge's lift in. Okay, so today we're going to be installing an Ironman 2-inch lift, or it's 2.5 inch lift. It is a basic lift, so it is just springs and shocks. We're also doing a steering dampener as well. We will see how it goes and whether we need to do any geo corrections. That's something that we will consider down the path. Now, one little tip, whenever you're doing this sort of work, before you jump in, always check your parts. Because I checked the parts and I picked them up yesterday and front shocks are wrong, everything else is right. So the front shocks I believe actually look like they're for Toyota. Very, very important to make sure you always check your part list before you pull your car apart. So I'm about to jump in the car now and go and do a hour trip back and forwards to go and pick up the shocks that I should have got the first time. So I'll see you soon. Alright, so almost home now, so it's going to be close enough to an hour and a half round trip. Actually, it's going to be closer to an hour 40, just because one, they didn't check their part numbers and I made the mistake of doing the same. So always important when you get your parts, make sure, or anytime you pick up parts, make sure you check your part numbers just to be sure, because if I'd just taken 5 minutes to check it over and not 100% trusted them, and I would have actually not had to do this trip today, and I would have been already probably halfway through the lift. So lesson learned, always make sure you check your bits. So the first thing I always do is I take measurements on all 4 quarters, and I always try and do this in the same place, so that way when I do the measurements after the lift, I know that I've got an exact comparison. Once you've got the Jeep lifted and placed safely on some jack stands, then the easy part starts, something even I can do, and that's starting to take parts off. Personally, I always start with removing any cables and pipes, etc. that may be stretched under the lift, ensuring they're undone and placed out of the way. I always like to put screws and bolts back into the place so that they're easily located when you are reassembling. Shocks are super easy to remove, just a bolt on top and bottom. Then disconnect all the different suspension componentry that's going to limit your movement. Once you've got everything removed, then you can lower the suspension and remove the original springs. Placing the new springs into place is as simple as just compressing the springs a little bit to get them into the space, and then effectively just go backwards in the process that you did. Reattaching the suspension as needed. The rear suspension in theory should be a lot simpler than the front. I've got to be honest, I actually found getting the rear spring into place way more difficult in the rear than it was in the front. And then not to mention connecting some of the suspension componentry, it was a real pain in the butt. Well, that took a lot longer than it should have. A couple of little hiccups here and there, but overall came out pretty good. So I'm just going to go for a drive tonight, just to literally go around the block a few times just to let it settle. And then tomorrow morning I'm going to get under and I'm going to re-torque everything while it's on the ground under its normal weight, just to allow everything to settle down a little bit. Okay, so it's the following morning. I've already been underneath this morning and re-torqued all the settings just to make sure it's all under load and it's all sitting nicely. We've ended up with just shy of 2.5 inches at the front and just a smidge under 2 inches at the rear. So it's actually not too bad. I actually wasn't specifically chasing a lift. I just wanted to firm the suspension up and to just get rid of the bouncing that you used to get out of the Jeep, and particularly under towing. Sarge was amazing, did the job well, but definitely extremely soft with the standard suspension. I haven't towed yet obviously, but just so far it's been pretty good. I'm actually going to go for a bit of a cruise after this and just see if I can find any trails. There's not a lot in my local area, not anything that's legal anyway, but I'm just going to see if I can do something, find something just to flex the suspension a little bit, just to get a bit of an idea what it's going to feel like. As far as road manners go, it's been very, very good so far. Geo correction goes, I'm not sure whether we're going to need to do anything at this stage, but I'm certainly not putting it off the table, and if we need it, we will do it. Whether that be, I won't do brackets, I'll probably do proper control arms if I'm going to need it, and I also may look at adjustable panhard rods. But in saying that, the measurements from each side, it's virtually not changed at all, which did surprise me, to be honest. Every other lift in the past I've always done adjustable panhards, so I am quite surprised it's made virtually no difference. Let me show you around what he looks like now. I'm sorry I couldn't find anything decent to stretch Sarge's legs, but I'll be doing a video very soon going over more of an off-road review and put the new suspension through its paces properly.